everyone, Chris Natsky here with Superfoot Systems, and welcome to Superfoot Stories. Stories from the life and times and career of Bill Superfoot Wallace. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thought we'd spend a little time today to talk about your early career. How did you get started in the martial arts?
Who cares?
I think everyone out there might.
Oh, okay. I was a wrestler in high school and college. My freshman year in high school, I weighed 89 pounds. If I turned sideways and stuck out my tongue, I looked like a zipper. But I was short, little, so I'm walking by this room one time, and these guys are inside wrestling. So I walk in, I watch them a little bit. I says, "Hey, coach, can a guy my size be doing this stuff?" He says, "How much do you weigh?" And I said, 89 pounds. He says, "Yeah, you'd wrestle 95 pounds. So I had 6 pounds to play with. So I said, okay. So I go get changed, come back, I start wrestling. I feel like I'm getting along really good. So my freshman year, I had 2 wrestling matches. I won both of them. Then my sophomore year, I grew a little bit, wrestled all of 112. And then my junior year, I weighed 127. My senior year, I wrestled 138. Now, I was a good wrestler. I enjoyed it, I loved it. Matter of fact, my senior year, I beat the state champ. I won against the state champ. So we had a good time, had a blast. Then my friend, Chip Molman, who was my best friend in high school, says, "Let's join the service. He wants to fly airplanes." We're Midwest, we don't know. So I said, okay, I'll join the service with you. So I get my parents okay because I was only 17 years old. So I get the okay. We join the Air Force. And understand, Chip wants to be a pilot. He wants to fly airplanes. Never even saw one. Nobody told us, number one, you had to be an officer. Nobody told us, number 2, that you had to go through flight training and all that other stuff. So we were a little disgruntled, but whatever. So when we had the meetings and the testing to go through what we were going to do the rest of our career, I wanted to be a bomb specialist, which was stationed in Denver, Colorado, at Lowry Air Force Base. Mm-hmm. I put in for that. Well, I didn't make it. For some reason I would have, but I became an auto mechanic at Chanute Air Force Base, Illinois, which was like 70 miles from my hometown. I went, hey, that's okay. So I could stay there, get off on the weekends, go visit my parents, and my parents would come and visit me. Because when you're in high school, you're lonely and all that stuff. Then I get to my permanent station in Wurtsmith Air Force Base, Michigan, Upper Michigan, not Upper Peninsula, but Upper Michigan, right on Lake Huron. And I get to the base. Now, those of you that have ever been in the service, you have your choice. You find something to do with your off time, or you go get drunk with your buddies. I don't drink, I don't smoke. So I said, well, I'll go over to the men's gym, find out something to do. I go to the men's gym and I say, excuse me, do you guys have a wrestling team? He says, well, I don't know what you're doing, but a bunch of guys are rolling around in that mat in the back. So I walk into the back room, and a bunch of guys in these white little suits are rolling all over the place, throwing each other. And I said, hey, wow, excuse me, does anybody wrestle here? And evidently the head instructor stands up because he got a black belt on. He says, you wrestle? I said, yes, sir. He says, I'll wrestle you. So he takes his top off. We wrestle. I take him down a couple times, put him on his back a couple times. He said, that's pretty good. Now put this little white coat on and we'll do it again. So I put the little white coat on. Do you understand what flying status is? I bounced off the walls. I bounced off the ceiling. I bounced off the floor several times. And I said, God, what is this stuff called? He says, it's called judo. I like this because a lot of the groundwork is very similar to judo. So I started playing judo, got pretty good at it. In 1964, because in December when I went up there, in 1964, we represented the United States Air Force, 2nd Air Force, in national championships. So I was the middleweight. I was 135 pounds.
So you actually started in judo?
I started it. Well, I understand wrestling.
Wrestling, yeah.
Was basically the first martial art.
Yeah.
You got a piece of meat out of it, so I grabbed me, you wrestle around for it. So I wrestled in high school, played judo in the service. My second to the last year in the service, I'm at Kadena Air Base in Okinawa. Playing judo. I'm going to compete. I come in for a throw. This guy's I understand I weighed about 135. I come in for a throw. It's called a seotoshi, body drop. The guy counters it, steps over my leg. So I step through his legs to throw a throw called his ouchigari. He just collapses. My knees here just hits my knee and tears it. Tears the medial collateral ligament. They take me to the hospital and they say, well, your judo career is over. We want to open you up and look how bad the tear is. And this is 1965. What are the chances of it being normal if you don't cut it up? 50-50. What are the chances of it being normal if you do cut it up? 50-50. Thank you, sir. I'll just put a cast. They'll put a cast on. I'll walk around for a couple months. So they put a cast on it, all the way from my ankle up to my hip, and I'm walking around. A friend says, "Hey, do you know there's a karate school downtown?" Okay, where? So he takes me to this karate school, Naha, and I'm sitting on these benches, and this guy in the karate uniform comes up and says, "Oh, you want to do karate?" What? Do you want to do karate? I look at my friend, he says, "You want to do karate?" I said, "Yeah, it looks fun." He says, "Oh, you stand up, we do karate." I said, "I can't, I got a cast on." "No problem, you stand up." So I stood up. He says, "We do yoga geri." What's a yoga geri? Side kicker. We do side kicker. Yoga geri. I said, okay. So he shows me how to do the side kick. So I stand there for the next 3 weeks, bringing the leg up, throwing the yoga geri. About knee, quadricep height. Bam, bam, without moving because my right leg won't move, right? I come back a couple weeks later. He says, "Oh, you're back. Go video. We do moashi geri." I just got yoga geri now. What's the moashi? Roundhouse kicker. Roundhouse kicker. So same thing, but the roundhouse kick is the same move side, and the roundhouse kick, 55,000 of those things. I get out of the cast, I heal, I come back to class. Working in class, someday he says, "We do now randori." Not randori was judo, but we do kumite. It's another Japanese word. What is kumite? Free fight. We fight. Now, just a minute. We're hitting the Makara board. We're working Ippon kumite, Juji kumite, all these different defense moves. You tells me every time I turn around that if I do this right, I'll kill somebody. If I kick this person right, I'll kill somebody. Now we're going to actually kill somebody? No. We practice kimi. Another Japanese word. What is kimi? Focus. Just touch. Okay. So we're sparring. I'm sparring with a shodan or a nidan. We're moving around. I'm throwing the side, throwing around because that's all I knew, and the back fist. All of a sudden, I throw the side, he leans out of the way. So I brought the leg down and threw the hook kick. Tied him right in the chest with the heel. He drops. I said, "Uh-oh. You don't hit your instructor." I come up to him, I said, "I'm going to die." And he said, "What'd you do? What'd you do?" And I go, I threw the side kick, you defended, and I just stuck the leg out and brought the heel around, brought the foot around." He said, "Uramawashigeri." There's another one of those damn words. Uramawashigeri. What is uramawashigeri? Hook and kicker. Hook and kicker. The 3 kicks that we have in the Superfoot system: Yokogeri, side kick, yapchugi. Mawashigeri, roundhouse kick, dorochugi. Hook kick, uramawashigeri, or pakuchugi. Those 3 kicks, because I was in a cast, I couldn't turn my hips. I couldn't pivot. So all 3 kicks came from the side kick, the roundhouse kick, and the hook kick. When I got out of the cast, I learned to step. But because if I locked the leg out, it might come out of joint. Right. So to cover distance, I took that little step. Momentum, inertia. Throwing the kick. So I covered the distance without having to slide up, and I could step and throw the kick because I stepped with the rear leg. I wouldn't slide, step. Right. Therefore, I covered the distance. Right. Works perfectly. Goes heel to heel, side kick, roundhouse kick, hook kick. I'm still perfectly sideways.
So really, I mean, the Superfoot system began back
in from an injury.
Yeah, exactly.
Came from an injury, yes.
All right, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back next month. We're going to talk a little bit more about your career in Okinawa in terms of your training there. So hopefully everyone enjoyed the origin story of Bill Superfoot Wallace in martial arts, and we'll see you next month on Superfoot Stories.